Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Shirani. Today I'm going to show you how to make Belizean Dukunu. I'm doing a very small recipe, so I'm only using 6 sweet corn. And I'm going to cut off both ends of the corn. And when you cut the top portion off, make sure you cut it to where you can see the corn. That way when you peel the husk off, it peels off more evenly. Now I'm going to peel the husk off, and I usually throw away the first 2 or 3 pieces just because those always look dirty. And then I'm going to keep the rest, and I'm going to keep them because I want them to wrap my dukunu. For those of you who are not familiar, the corn they use in Belize to make dukunu is what they call field corn here in the States. I can't get anywhere I live, so I have to use a sweet corn. It makes the dukunu taste a little bit different, but it's still good. One thing I learned about using sweet corn in this recipe versus using field corn is that the sweet corn doesn't have enough starch in it. And what that means is when you cook it, the dukunu won't firm up. It will be just as soft as when you put it in the pot. So in this case, I've learned that you have to add something to the corn for it to bind together. And I'm going to add some cornmeal to it. I only know about this because I was talking to my cousin one day, and I was telling her my dukunu story and how they never come out good, and she told me about adding cornmeal to it. I'm so glad I did. I've been doing it like that ever since she told me that. I'm going to cut the kernels off the cob, and then I'll measure it out so you can see. And I always measure it out because every time I do this I get a different amount. As you know, no corn is ever the same. You just never know what you'll get. So always measure it out, that way you can adjust the recipe accordingly. I know I'm always talking about Belize and the way we do things there and the way we do things here in the States, but it's because Belize is my home. That's where I'm from, but I live here in Texas, so I'm always going back and forth, and I'm always cooking the way we cook there. But I realize that when I come back and cook the same way here, it just doesn't come out the same. I always have to adjust the recipe. Here I measured out 6.5 cups of corn total, but I'm rounding it off to 7. I'll leave some information below explaining to you how I come up with my measurements. That way if you're making a little bit or a lot, you'll know how to adjust your recipe. Blend that for 1 to 2 minutes depending on the blender you're using. You want it somewhere in the middle, not too coarse and not too smooth. And by the way, I didn't put anything in the blender with the corn. It was just the corn that I blended. Growing up, my mom always used a cornmeal. She never used a blender. But I don't even know if people still use cornmeal. I haven't seen one in ages. But that was a lot of work. And then you would catch the milk when you use a cornmeal and make cornmeal. Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to add some melted margarine to that and some salt, and I'm going to give it a stir. If I was making this with the field corn or the green corn like we call it in Belize, that's all I would put in the dukunu. But because I'm using the sweet corn and I have to change the recipe, I'm adding the cornmeal. Another difference I noticed about using the sweet corn versus the field corn is that the husks are really small, so you'll have to use 2 to 3 pieces. So what you want to do is just take a spoon of the filling and put it on one end, on the top side, and then just fold that over, and the bottom portion you just want to fold that up. Because the husks are really small, I'm going to wrap it in a piece of foil just so it could stay together. I only came up with this foil thing because the husks are really small and it just doesn't feel secure. So I'm just trying to keep my dukunu in one piece. You might be thinking that's a lot of work. Why don't I just use the foil alone? Well, I tried that, but I just didn't like it. It's not the same. And to me, the corn husk just gives the dukunu a nice flavor. And it gives it the look that I'm used to. By the way, these are like mini dukunu. Usually when we make them in Belize, they're like 2 to 3 times the size of this. But this is the only size I can make because the husks are really small. So I'm not complaining as long as I get my dukunu. This recipe made 22 dukunu. I know that sounds like a lot, but because they're so small, you'll be eating like 3 or 4. After you're finished, you want to fill the pot like a quarter of the way up. You don't want to put a lot of water in the pot because you don't want it to get in your dukunu. Bring your pot to a boil and then lower the heat to medium and let that cook for 40 minutes. After they're finished cooking, you want to take them out and let them cool off a little bit before you unwrap them from the foil. And then I just leave them there in the husk until I'm ready to eat them. So this is what it looks like. I didn't even give it a chance to cool off because I wanted to show you. I was so excited about it. Oh my god, they're so good. I love dukunu. So this is what it looks like. It's really hot. I'm burning myself for you guys, but I can't wait to show you. So I hope you give it a try. The way we eat dukunu is with stew chicken. I have a recipe out already, so I'll be sure to link it below. But if you're interested, I have another stew chicken recipe coming out soon. I told you I have different ways how I make stew chicken, so this is just another version. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you have not yet subscribed, please don't forget to do that. And I'll talk to you in my next one. Take care. Bye.